Hi guys, this week we are talking about commercial and organic viral videos. I chose um, Dos Equis. It's a beer brand that did a really great job with their most interesting man alive slogan, and it kind of created a lot of buzz in a lot of different areas. It was a beer that wasn't really that well known before this campaign, but they did a very bold, stay thirsty, my friends, which the different fonts really actually helped, I think, create the image they were looking for. It was very bold and then a little bit more intimate in feeling. It was very spreadable, so other memes, I can never say correctly, um, kind of really took to heart. This one kind of had already existed for a little bit beforehand, but it did have sort of a mixture of creepy and very charismatic in the photo. It looks like he's very engaged in what he's saying, but at the same time, Willy Wonka is not the friendliest of characters for most people. But it did make a very translatable image. It was, they can play on words, they actually even just use their own slogan, and like the two sort of almost go hand in hand. So people really sort of grasped on to the Dos Equis slogan and model and put it into an already existing meme, and it kind of worked really well. The effect was also that other brands eventually kind of started using it. So if you're going out to a bar, you could stay thirsty, my friends, continue to drink with these, seemingly lovely ladies over here. And then other people could use memes to actually just apply other slogans so that it kind of the spreadability went even further. But once again, it whereas the Willy Wonka meme was didn't really help the movie kind of whatever whatsoever. This is actually an interesting play on one brand mixing with another, which is sort of a very interesting term in the advertising world. Did it work? I think the main goal is to market beer, and in most of actually their memes, they do still keep the bottle of beer in the picture, which I think is important. It, sort of the way they use him that tries to make you feel like you kind of know him, or the humor in him makes you feel like, he could be your weird uncle or the playboy that you've always wanted to be. The kind of the tone of his voice and the funniness of the commercials, I think, makes you think of drinking beer and having a good time and seeing the ladies. And then, but it also sort of allows for all these different ways to play with the image that all sort of still make sense, but at the same time, you're still thinking about the most interesting man in the world. So the brand did a really good job at creating this whole viral image for itself. So that's my commercial. And then for my organic, I'm actually going to talk about an older viral video, which is called The Adventures of George Washington. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. I think all of you might, but it was this video called George Washington, George Washington, and it was this cartoon-based thing that was popular in 2007, and it was pretty interesting because it gained a ton of traction for this parody of who George Washington was. And I was kind of curious with this assignment to see if it still sort of held any traction. And I actually ended up finding a bunch of pages on Reddit that were still being updated, sorry, with the quotes from it, with all of this different stuff that I think I probably was listening to this or talking about this maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So I thought it was kind of cool that these creators still made this cartoon that people still find very interesting and are still, being talked about. I used a group history, meaning like George Washington, who we of course all know, and created a very humorous video about him. So it was, I guess it's one that can kind of mesh well with most ages. It created waves of cartoons, including one about unicorns and all these other ones. that I'm sure have led to numerous ones that are on the internet now. And users like can seemingly take it as they see fit. So I thought that was pretty cool with spreadability and effects, that it's just still being talked about, you know, with so many users. So, and I think it worked because I think it was a little different for its time, and I think it really did touch on a common goal with the people who were watching it, and it was a different kind of humor than had really been acknowledged before. And I think that really, I think when people see something that they find funny that they were at one point not really supposed to look at as funny, I think it's sort of an open door to a whole new way to talk about something, brand something, or make something interesting to people. Especially when it's, like I said, it's a universal understanding and history, and that you can kind of laugh at it a little bit, since it's so far away. So, yeah, that's my video. Have a great week, guys.